Alright, that is the start of the national anthem there, or the end of it, as you saw. We are meeting the Oireachtas today to discuss the current conflicts that are happening at the border, whilst also discussing the paramilitaries that are becoming more of a trend in recent times. Now, I'm not even sure where I'm meant to start this. I think this is going to be a very boring session. I might be wrong, but we'll have to see what happens. But like I said, I personally believe this will be a very boring session. I don't think much will happen. Um, Technically, the duel was meant to meet today anyway, without a emergency session, but I suppose they weren't doing that straight away. Anywho, I will be just quickly putting all the links in the right place. And T-Shock will be rising to start the debate. Again, give me just a second so I can get all of this set up. That goes down. Nearly done with all of this, and I can actually get to properly speaking. Again, bear with me just a moment. I have set that up wrong. Hold on. Again, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get this all done. I should really prepare for it beforehand, but and Taoiseach is currently speaking that the sovereignty of Ireland needs to be respected. Again, this is for those who are just tuning in. This is about the Northern Irish conflict and the paramilitaries that are building up within Ireland. There wasn't. I mean, again, I said this earlier, but like I didn't think there was much point in calling this session. I don't think there's a very, very large lack of quorum. There is not lack of quorum, lack of attendance. And if we just quickly count here, oh no, we've got another Social Democrat there. We've got 6 Social Democrats in attendance, 2 from the largest from the joined opposition, 1 from Fianna Fáil, 1 from Labour, and is that 6 from Green Party? No, 5. I wasn't sure whether Danny was on their bench or not. But yes, three on the opposition now, so quite small. It is surprising to have something like the Green Party, nearly 100% attendance, 90%, well nearly 90%, probably somewhere around 80%, but still quite good attendance from the Green Party there. Though the Social Democrats, they also have fine attendance, in my own opinion. 6 of 9 6 of 9? Yeah, 6 have currently showed up of 9. And then, like I said, the Green Party, they've had 6. Fianna Fáil, I mean, technically, they do have 50% attendance, but for some reason, Chuck Mail keeps missing the sittings. He didn't file an absence yesterday, and he had been absent for quite some time. But currently being discussed again is the debate that is happening within the Dáil right now. Oh, the spreadsheet hasn't been updated. For some reason, Kiara's still the Taoiseach. Francis, one of the members of Fianna Fáil and the opposition, has said that the government seem more willing to condemn the actions of our own rather than the ones up north. he says that the UVF are existential enemy that threatens the very soul of the nation. This is in regards to the current. I believe is there a paramilitary for that have apparently seeked funding from the government, and according to some sources have been given it, but from the British government that is. But there are unionist, so they do want Ireland to join the United Kingdom, or at least for Northern Ireland to remain British. The member of Fianna Fáil has condemned the horrid actions, and that the Irish National Liberation Army is a threat to the stability of the Republic. I mean, notably, Labour Party has lost at least not minister, one member of the opposition because of their ties to Inla. And currently, he said that there isn't much being done to defend the right, that there's been a very weak rhetoric in defending that right. He finally calls on all the parties to express their willingness to defend an Irishman's right to protect their life, their property, and their very existence. And if they don't, they're all cowards. I'm not sure if Francis is a member of the IDF, and after such a passionate speech, I would advise him to join the IDF. Oh, yeah, I can't screen share for those who are wondering because it lags my PC quite a lot. I'm going to quickly see if it's the same case now. Hopefully not, but I believe the Minister Unregimental was called, who's the Minister for Northern Ireland, Minister of State for Northern Ireland, sorry there. So, as someone who is qualified to speak on such subject matters, at least I think it was going to rise. Oh, never mind. The member said yesterday they visited the border and that they saw a brutal firefight between the British and Irish Defence Forces. Now, this is probably in relation to the fact that we've had a lot of the British shooting over the border, and in retaliation, the Irish have shot back as well. I mean, tensions are definitely rising. I would personally say it's quite scary because it does seem like we're kind of heading into a war that we really aren't ready to win. However, that's just generally my own opinion. I'm not sure. Maybe we could win a war of that scale. We'd really have to see. They asked for a ceasefire. Apparently, members of the Green Party. Notably, we have had lots of politicians, particularly being targeted by the groups such as the Irish National Liberation Army, or UVLA, one of the two, who've been targeting politicians. I'm just going to quickly check my DMs with someone because I know they sent something regarding it to me. So bear with. I think I think that's Inla because they said the loyalist volunteer force kills Green Party member, and they said they're a target on the list. So I mean, just from the evidence I have here, it's quite a controversial thing really because the Irish, oh my god, the National no Inla Irish National Liberation Army, they have said that they want to help. No, they don't want to kill any Irish citizens. Yet they have made these lists trying to kill politicians. So it does really beg the question. There has been a call from the Green Party member to take immediate action from the military. So, I mean, that is quite a substantial ask to have. Again, lots of people don't believe that the military is ready. I am one of those people myself. Maybe they are, however. Oh, the I'd just like to ask, so I can see the inner relations of it in the stream right now. Have Inler been have Inler been targeting Irish politicians, such as members of the Green Party? Oh, okay, never mind. They've denied such accusations. Can I ask if let me check. Is NHO Cam one of your members of Inler? Okay, I have to assume that is the UVF then. The Deputy Francis has been called upon again. I would have thought the Minister of State for Northern Ireland or something would raise at this point, but just I will bring up Oisin because he seems desperate to speak.
Hello, hello, hello,
Hello,
hello.
what is it you wish to say?
I think we need to take military action immediately.
But
That's
lots of
that.
people, again, myself included, lots of people would argue that the Irish army isn't ready. Even if I mean, apparently the UK has like over 1,000 troops. We have. Hmm?
Those people that say that we aren't ready are the people that could be enlisting in the defense forces. And the people creating paramilitaries like the INLA could be enlisting in the defense forces instead of creating loony paramilitaries that are doing absolutely nothing and just further instigating British forces shooting over the border and giving them a justified reason to kill defense forces personnel because they're just going to say that they're trying to target paramilitaries.
Hold on. So, with you asking for military action to be taken immediately, even if we could gain the numbers, there are 1,000 people in the island's Discord server or something like that. But it's reported that there's over 1,000 active personnel in UK.
Yeah.
How are we
Well, you
ever going to
see,
stand up to that, especially when they are probably of higher quality because they've been running for a lot longer than us?
well, Dan, we've had many instigations with British forces where Ireland has resiliently fought back and won and reunified the island in some cases. And I think if the Irish people can stand up and defend their nation again, something like that can happen. And not only that, they might have 1,000 personnel, but you know, nothing in the whole nothing in the whole imperial arsenal can break the spirit of one Irishman.
Well, the British have commonly come back saying, well, very regularly come back and said that they're not responsible for the attacks and instead are blaming the Hong Kong Defence Forces. Do you believe that they have any role to play in it all?
Well, I would say they have a role, but the role isn't as substantiative as it is made out to be. But still, regardless of that, they are guilty of firing over at defense forces personnel, including myself, which I have many evidence of. And Hong Kong Defense Forces, they're more or less under the control of British Armed Forces Command in the north. So under the directive of them, they're being told to cross the border and kill Irish civilians and Irish personnel.
Sorry, I was just talking now. Right, so, and my own thoughts on it, where you very regularly see the Northern Irish Police doing nothing to really combat the Hong Kong Defence Forces, very clearly shooting over the border.
Exactly.
Would you say that? So, would you say in that those acts that the British are condoning or accepting these shootings over the border?
Well, they're certainly not condemning them, and they're certainly not stopping them. If you get me, I mean, they're just standing by. Collusion is not an illusion, Dan. It's a thing that's been going on for quite a while.
So, do you think that these are war, like these are acts of war?
Well, from Hong Kong, 100%. From the Brits, maybe not, but still, I think action needs to be taken up on the border. I think there needs to be more military action immediately before we do end up getting ourselves into a war that we will be unprepared for.
Currently, the border is still technically closed. Would you support the reopening of that border, or do you think it should remain closed?
No, I think it should remain closed indefinitely until this semi-conflict is sorted out.
So you think this is a minor inconvenience compared to, oh, no,
Well,
no, a minor inconvenience when we bring up the border?
I mean, it this keeps it's a reoccurrence. It keeps happening every so often. They keep shooting across the border, and they keep crossing, and this usually happens nearly every single time. The defense forces or there's a server start up. So I think it's turning into almost a semi military conflict because if it just keeps reoccurring, it means that they're trying to instigate something even further, whether that may be a war or not.
So would you condone an act of war? Would you say that we should declare war on, say, Hong Kong, and if the British refuse to acknowledge their wrongdoings and declare war on them as well?
Well, no, I don't think we should declare war at all, but I think rampant military action at the border and more defense mechanisms should be set up against the Brits. I mean, if they're gonna fire over at us, I don't see what's the problem of us firing over at them.
I believe Killian has a question.
I do.
Hi,
Um,
Killian.
I have multiple. Well, I want to start with an important one. Hi, Oshin. You talk about military action and defense mechanisms. Could you go into a bit more detail on what those involve? Because they seem like very vague terms in order to drum up support from nationalists.
Well, I think that we should be utilizing all the equipment that we have within the game that defense forces just are accessible to. Like we have APCs that could be added to the game that could maybe help further advance the defense of the border, and I think that more as such protections and barriers should be added up to prevent the crossings from the Hong Kong Defense Forces because there is quite a lot of areas that are accessible to cross for them, which is allowing them to come over into the state and shoot our civilians.
And tell me, you mentioned that despite the arsenal at the disposal of the British state, you believe that no amount of manpower can defeat the spirit of one Irishman. Let's be realistic about this. Do you have any idea the figures that we have in Oireachtas na hÉireann? Do you have any idea how many people are enlisted
I
in
do. I'm in Oglethorpe
the
Heron.
Irish Defence Forces? How
I
many
know.
are
I
there,
know.
would you say,
I,
approximately?
I would say that there's an estimate of 20 to 30 if I'm guessing. And
And
although that's not substantiative enough, I know, but we've seen like in the Christmas Rising and other instances against the Brits that the Irish have fought back resiliently, and I think it can happen again, Killian.
well, see, the line you're tethering on here is very thin because you want military action but not war. You want a resilient and resounding victory at the border with a small amount of manpower, but also you believe the border should remain closed and we should try and resolve this conflict. It seems to me like you're going for a very cornered and targeted and unlikely approach to this issue when other parties have a lot more easier approaches. Why not, per se, go with the approach of the Greens and opening dialogue, or perhaps the government, which is to just, I suppose, sit and let it happen? What makes your approach more appealing, and what makes your approach more possible?
Well, we've tried dialogue before, and dialogue has only ended up in this reoccurring once and again. And this time, there's more outroar for the defense forces to defend our civilians at the border. And so I think the government just letting it happen, I think it's an absolute disgrace. And I know trying to have dialogue is something that we should keep trying, but we've tried that previously, and it's not worked out so far. So I think something else needs to be done.
Those are all the questions I have.
Well,
And can I say the only time that we've had peace was when Hong Kong. The only time we had peace with Hong Kong was when the border was closed. So
well, now even now the border is still technically closed, yet we still don't have peace.
Exactly. That means they're. I think that means they're trying to instigate something even further.
Do you think that if we declare war on Hong Kong, we'd be ready for a war with Britain as well? Because I think it'd be very
No.
likely if Britain is housing Hong Kong Defence Forces and their troops, surely they would also jump to their aid if they got declared war on.
Of course they would, but I don't think we're ready for a war necessarily yet. No.
So how do you propose this gets dealt with? Because you don't want to sit around and do nothing. You don't want to open up dialogue, but you don't want to go over and declare war. What options do we have then?
Well, we've options that, like I said, we should utilize all tools in game that are accessible to the defense forces, and I think set up new defense installations. I mean, there's multiple ways for them to cross over, and I think that should be patched up and can be worked with Irish developers. And I think if we ramp up Ogden recruitment, then we can get substantiative numbers to help and try combat these shootings and these crossings from these imperialist forces.
Well, if you were unaware, there were over three borders in. I think three-ish.
There's two.
There's
There's
two. There's
two.
two or three. I think it's two, but there's the main one, but then there's also there's another one, and maybe I don't speak from experience, but you can very easily drive through that, and there is no life there. There are zero people who man that border. If we can't even defend two borders within our country, what makes you think that we're ready to take on an entire defence force of a nation that is also being backed by the British?
And back both defense posts. It's just that one's never necessarily used when in-game activities at its height. And by what I mean by using our resources can be directed to that border checkpoint. And I don't think you can drive through it because I usually see people leaving their vehicles off at the river, so you can't necessarily just drive through it. But yeah, I think we should derive our resources not just mainly from one checkpoint, but also to the other checkpoints to prevent, armed insurgents and perhaps Hong Kong Defense Forces from crossing at that checkpoint.
Well, hold on, I'm just going to quickly check. We do have
There
the
is
min no, we
two.
do have the Minister for Foreign Affairs. I think that's the Minister for Foreign Affairs. Yeah, the Minister for Foreign Affairs in the audience. I mean, I'm not actually sure if they VC. It would be interesting though to get the Minister for Foreign Affairs to come up here though. We do also have a Social Democrats TD, so we'll see if they have anything to give from the Social Democrats based on the border.
Hello. I don't know why I'm here, but hello.
Well, you had your hand raised, and you are a
Yeah, I,
representative. You are a Social
yeah, I
Democrat
suppose.
TD.
I suppose. I suppose.
Can you tell us any of the plans that the Social Democrats currently have to protect our border?
Now, as a backbencher, I obviously don't get told very much, so I don't know if I can answer that one.
Oh, so there wasn't really much point in bringing you up. Well, thank you for your time anyway.
No, not particularly. Not particularly.
Brilliant speak.
If
Mr. McPhee,
if
man.
you can get your minister up here, greatly appreciate it. Oh, I didn't mean to send that request again. Whoops.
Yeah, I'll just leave. Hello again. Bye.
Well, currently we have Francis speaking in the chamber right now. I mean, we've had. I will say you've appointed the Checkmate as your deputy leader of the opposition, but he's failed to turn up to 5 sessions. It would be today if he doesn't turn up to this one as well. 3 unauthorized absences. Do you still want him to be your deputy leader of the opposition?
Of course I do. Checkmill just has a lot of real life commitments dealing with family matters and personal matters that are quite out of my hands, and I'm sure he wants to prioritize them over Roblox. So
But does
I
that not
still
mean
have
he can't
confidence in him.
even send in a reason as to why he didn't attend?
Well, that may be the case. Yeah, he might be that preoccupied with his real life things that he might not be able to send a message. But I'm sure if he hasn't got any strikes yet, the clerks have been informed in some way or another.
Well, I've had multiple people tell me that Francis Butler Yates is actually going to be on the ballot for Fianna Fáil's Taoiseach. Now, I don't know if these are true, it's just from rumours I've heard, but there's also
Mhm.
talks that Checkmount isn't the real leader of Fianna Fáil. Do you agree with this at all?
That's just a stupid comment because I see only one person called Checkmill every day named leader. Whether Francis is going to be their Taoiseach candidate, I don't know. That's not up to me, but I would imagine it would still be Checkmill because he is the leader and nobody else is, because that's literally impossible.
I mean, if Francis wants to give me anything in DMs to correct me. But yeah, that's just from what I've heard. Well, I think another very big thing to bring up about your opposition is Fine Gael. One of your members of the opposition that you took under your wing has recently been received 3 strikes. Not only were they just a member of Fine Gael, they were the leader of Fine Gael. What are your plans moving forward with Fine Gael? Are you still going to be working with them, especially now they have no TD?
I'm sure they'll find a replacement in due course, and yes, I'm sure both Labour and both us and Fianna Fáil are still committed to working with Fine Gael as our coalition partners in this democratic opposition. They've been great so far, and the ejection I think was uncalled for by the Concordia, but we move anyway.
Well, this is quite I'd say quite a substantial event to happen. You know, the Fine Gael just losing an entire their leader from being able to sit in the Oireachtas. That is kind of what the leader's job is to be, to lead the Oireachtas. So have you even spoke to Oswald? Have you spoke to him about his behaviour? What's happened?
Well, I don't think that his behavior is erratic. I mean, I've definitely seen worse, but um, I mean, we all have moments where we might get a bit erratic in the Dáil, which I think is perfectly normal, and I don't believe that he should have been ejected that last session, so I have no issue with how he performed, to be honest.
Well, he was removed for 3 strikes, but this is also a member who said that the elections are rigged. Now, I think a lot of the opposition says the opposition are mostly united in their thoughts. So does that mean you also believe that the election was rigged?
The election was probably rigged, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I mean, Social Democrats like to instate them,
Do you have
like
any
the
proof of
group
this?
stuff. No, I don't have proof. It's a political opinion, Dan. I think the Social Democrats are probably group staff instated, yeah.
I see. Well, these are very bold accusations, I would say.
Well, it's
I
nothing we haven't heard before, so.
hmm. Just thinking, quite interesting. Well, I haven't actually asked you a question on this yet. We saw yesterday, not yesterday, we saw, I think it was the day before actually, one of your members of your party was designated as a national security threat. You later said that this was false. You still removed him as one of your TDs. So do you actually believe that he wasn't a part of it, or are you just trying to?
Ghana and the Taoiseach refused to provide evidence, claiming it was under OSA. So I did dispute it at first, but I'm just going to go with my gut, and I removed him to prevent um any further criminal harm done to the Labour Party. But they refused to provide evidence of this and classed it as OSA. But we move on with it. So
So you believe he was innocent, yet still removed him as a TD.
yeah, because you know the defense or the Taoiseach and the Commissioner of An Garda Síochána refused to provide evidence. So I do dispute the fact quite heavily, but if they're welcome to provide sufficient evidence that he was a member of the Irish National Liberation Army, I would be happy to back up their claims.
Well, what do you propose that the Garda does differently then, if you believe that the current commissioner is, you know,
Well, I think Andrew should resign, and I think the service would be better off without him. And I think everything else would go great.
oh, hold on, there is being a motion raised by the Green Party there. They're requesting the motion to recognise the presence of J-Chan. I'm not too sure who that is.
He's like a real life conservative politician.
Right, I
Okay.
see. Oh, the motion has been accepted by the Kian caller. And she's now called on the Deputy Seth, one of the TDs for the Social Democrats there. Who on earth is that?
Dan,
Talks
let
in
me
really
ask you
language and
this.
everything. Hmm?
What do you think we should do at the border?
Well,
You're a minister for the Social Democrats.
I'm not any minister for defence though, or for foreign affairs,
No,
but
but you still hold a cabinet portfolio.
and I will say that what we're seeing at the border is not great. However, in my capacity as communities, culture and language, I will be working to get the National Ambulance Service up and running as soon as possible, so we can make sure less people are dying at the border, more people are receiving medical attention, and that our soldiers can keep fighting for longer. Not simply because they've lost their life, but they still have the want to go on, but they keep dying and they can't stay at the border. So if we have the National Ambulance Service there, then we can begin getting our Garda and our Irish Defence Forces healed again. And if we start seeing if we start seeing paramedics starting to die, I think this is going to be a much larger issue, because it has been genuinely agreed that medics, surgeons, etc., they do not get caught up in these conflicts. They do not get caught up in wars, I suppose. Like, it is considered a war crime, I'm pretty sure. So to have the Hong Kong Defence Forces starting to shoot over at National Ambulance Service paramedics, I think that would warrant a far bigger response, and one that definitely demands a meeting with Hong Kong, and maybe even with the UN, to discuss, the killing of public servants, especially ones that are healing. So I mean, going off a bit of a tangent there, but at least in my regards, in my portfolio, I know I will be helping the border by trying to get our National Ambulance Service, our paramedics on the front lines, making sure that our people of Ireland can still fight. Anywho, this is not my platform to go on about.
No, but you have an opinion and it must be heard. I mean, it's a democracy after all.
Well, and the INNA has informed me that the UVF, which again is the Unionists,
By the way, the
paramilitary.
UDF is led by this guy called 1SGGG. He's January 105. He should be arrested immediately.
I genuinely think I can't see the Unionists being older than like 12, because like when I was 12, that was when I still believed in Ireland's becoming British, and it was like a completely different opinion now. But like you have to have like this very vast lack of understanding of Ireland to say that they should be British. Like there is so much the British have done to Ireland. There is so much that Ireland is still suffering from the British. The famine that we recently commemorated, that we come together and shared our thoughts on.
Population diaspora hasn't been the same since the famine.
Yeah, we still have.
I mean, we would have like 10 million at least by now if it wasn't for the famine. I mean, there's like 30 million in Canada alone, and probably more in the US.
So yeah, I think any kind of move. I think I'm allowed to say this on RTE because, we're the state. We love to support the state. Genuinely, I think the UVF, they are. I don't know if they know how to shoot, because I've never personally been shot by one of them. It's only the Hong Kong Defence Forces, but I think the UVF, I think they seem to be very inexperienced. they have this goal of, unifying Ireland with Britain, but like they have no clear goal on that. And I think they're more outwardly a terrorist organization rather than say someone who's like INLA, who do say that they're not terrorist or that they wouldn't kill random civilians.
What's their goal?
The UVF.
Yeah.
I would assume it's to unite Ireland with Britain, but again, I don't know that for sure.
It's the most stupid thing I've ever heard.
I mean,
Like, genuinely, get a life. I mean,
I think Ireland looks better as its own independent island rather than under
I think it looks better
like,
unified.
yeah,
Like, on a map,
it looks
you think
better
it looks better.
unified than divided. And it doesn't need to be grouped together with the British. So
I mean, their goal is to protect Protestant civilians from the INLA, but I don't think there's literally any Protestant civilians living in the South.
well,
I don't
sorry,
think
I
they're
have gotten a
definitely being
DM.
shot.
I've gotten a
Yeah, so
DM
I don't
from
think
one of
that.
the UVF members. I will note they are they are in your server. They are in the Labour Party server.
I know they are.
Um, they've DM'd me. Our goal is to kill as many Tags as we can and keep Ulster
Yeah.
British. What's a
The
Tag?
sectarian is a TIG is a derogatory term for a Catholic.
Oh right.
It's just stupid. I mean, sectarianism in the big 2025 is it's just stupid. I mean, they need to really get a life. If they think of this in real life, then they're not gonna get anywhere in the world. Like, I'm sorry,
Well, I've been told
you
by
know.
Inla that the UVF are pish and they aren't really a threat at all. But they've said that LVF may be more of a threat. I mean, do we have more information on the LVF,
I
who they are?
Yeah, well, the Loyalist Volunteer Force would have been a splinter group from the Ulster Volunteer Force back in the 1990s. But in this group, I'm pretty sure they're just Sovs-backed militia to try and combat the INLA paramilitary that's been formed. I think it's just for them to basically commit war crimes without being under like the British Armed Forces banner, if you get me.
I
Really,
see.
I think that's what it is.
Well, apparently the UVF is also getting British government to back them. I just have this guy very proudly telling me this, but I'm not
I
sure whether
think
the
so.
British government would like being told this.
I mean, they might try. If they do, then that's just them trying to compromise Ireland's sovereignty. So,
And
you know.
it would have to be I would assume it would have to be brought up in the UN if we have the British committing war crimes through paramilitaries. But
Well, wouldn't it be more or less a proxy war then? They're getting the UVF to fight a war in
yeah.
Ireland against Irish state
Well,
forces
I'm
because
being
it would be
DM'd
in the
that the
interest.
UVF has no backing, and it was never agreed, but they are only one person.
Yeah, exactly. So they're not even a formidable force. I mean, a fucking
Don't swear at me.
Reginald.
It's not past
Oh,
9 p.m. yet.
Reginald is allowed to or flipping Reginald could shoot the UVF with a shotgun if you know. That's how bad they actually are.
I would never ever trust Reginald with a gun. I mean,
Well, that's exactly my point, Dan.
Killian's
That's
not.
exactly.
I think Killian's like. I think that's his son. Either
I
way,
don't know.
I would like if Killian's watching this or something, on the stream. I don't know. Never let, what's her name? Never let. What's her name? It's completely slipped my mind. And never let
I know.
Reginald to get a gun, please. I think we
Yeah,
can all be agreed.
there we go. Green Party GD has just brought up exactly what I said. The British government funding the UAF to attack Irish troops can be seen as an attack on Irish troops by the United Kingdom.
I mean, it has been said. I think something we need to know is that we are getting conflicting sources. Some are saying that they have, some are saying that they aren't. I've been
Well,
given the
personally, I haven't saw them yet, but there is an SSU in 20 minutes on an RDF deployment, so I guess we'll see then.
I have just seen a DM with the full list of INLA members. I mean, the owner.
Yeah, the Green Party has just called for military action as well.
So we have a lot of calls for military action, but again, I don't actually know how many members in this chamber are members of the Irish Defence Forces. I know Bo, I think she is because she's in a branch of it. I think she is anyway. Um, but I don't know. I don't know about the others. I think Reginald tried attending a session, but I'm being told that by the UVF that they have 10 members and it's growing. They've sent me a video of them walking around and shooting politicians, notably a Green politician, but.
Yeah, probably.
Well, apparently the Social Democrat representative has what they say they think should be done.
Well, as I said, I
No,
think
Bo, no,
military
right,
action.
Bo, I thought, like, there's something that they're doing, but I don't. They told me, they personally told me that they were somewhat related to the Irish Defence Forces. Oh! Oh, because at first they were going on about the Irish Defence Forces, so it really confused me. Like they're part of the military. Okay, right. Sorry, I didn't realise that. I mean, okay, it's a paramilitary. Apologies, I didn't realise that. But there are lots of people in this chamber, I would say, who say they are calling for military deployments, but they aren't members of the Irish Defence Forces. They aren't members of the Garda. So, and I'm not
It's a
sure.
military operation, question mark. You
Um,
know,
right, no, I was going to call up the member, the TD for the Social Democrats. So,
Right, this time I actually have something to say now.
please go ahead.
So pretty much many parties are calling for, military action. But if I'm being quite frank, I don't think that that should go through because it would just intensify the threat to the Irish people. Because if we go in there brutally, the
well,
British are obviously going
they've
to
come
react.
in brutally,
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Yeah, I know that.
And
That's very
what are we
clear.
gonna let them? Are we just gonna let them stand there and do it to us? Are we not gonna respond to them?
Thing is, that's what I'm about to get to. If we go in like that, they're going to come back even more brutally, and it's going to end a lot more Irish lives. And to be fair, obviously we don't want that. So I say we just up the military presence to show them that if they do decide to attack, then
That
there's a
we're
lot
ready.
more that we're ready. So it comes on a more intimidation effect more than a brutal effect, if that makes sense.
Oh, hold on. I've just
Well,
received the
I
strike.
think.
Sorry, I've just received the strike list. Um,
Oh
Check
God.
Mail has received a strike for 2 unauthorized absences. Uh,
Well,
what are you looking at per of the Green Party has received a strike for 2 unauthorized absences. But more notably, the Mark McKenzie, who is a member of the Labour Party, has received a strike for 2 unauthorized absences and have received 3 strikes and have been removed as a TD for the rest of the term. I'm going to quickly look at the spreadsheet before Oshin says anything, but I'm pretty sure there have been quite a lot of Labour dual members that have been. Yeah, so there's a very big majority, two, three, six
well,
Labour members, 6 Labour TDs have had to be replaced. Um, what on earth is happening at Labour? 6 of your members are former TDs.
well, some have wanted to be a TD and then for unexpected reasons had to leave. I'm looking at Robbie Creed, but anyways, and others have been connected to paramilitaries, which Labour totally condemns and does not allow. So, we can't have that.
Will Labour be introducing more vetting after this to see if they're in paramilitaries or anything?
Well, I don't think we need to go that far, but
Oh, notably, this is also your Minister for Business. Well, not Minister, Opposition spokesperson. Do you have anyone in plan to be your next Opposition spokesman for?
I don't have plans right now, but I will grab one.
Well, currently Francis has risen to speak about Hmm. I think acknowledging the funding of a
And
military group, but I'm not sure.
and you talk about how the paramilitaries linked to labor and stuff, but I don't think betting is required because these paramilitaries were formed in the Labour Party. They weren't formed before the members joined the Labour Party. You know what I mean? They were formed while
Oh,
they were
right, I
active
see.
members.
Wouldn't that be more cause for concern that your party is creating terrorist organizations?
Well, I think it's just a stupid and irrelevant choice, and it's clear that the INLA has no support whatsoever from the Irish people. And they did it behind my back and the Labour Party's general party's back, so it's not my fault really.
Do you have any statement regarding those Labour TDs that are founding these paramilitary organizations in your party?
Well, I think it's just utter stupidity, and I think that they should cease their operations immediately. And as sadly I had to quote this, the commissioner said, "Be like real men and join Oireachtas na Heron." So that's all I can say.
Oh, there has just been a motion to censor the government, tabled by Fianna Fáil, the opposition, and it has been seconded by you, Oshin. Now I'm just going to quickly see. There's also been a motion to adjourn. However, I don't believe they're allowed to motion to
Was this
adjourn once.
session just for nothing then?
No, it was to
I mean,
debate, so there wasn't anything else to vote
yeah, but
on.
nothing constructive has come out of it apart from calls for military action.
Well, I'd say that's quite constructive. It has given the government some ideas on what they may look to in the future. Getting the military ready for military operations.
Well, I mean, today I think was very productive for the Defense Forces. I mean, we had like, I don't know, 5 or 6 new recruits, which is a massive, massive upset from previous recruitment. So I think it's progress and showing that the Defense Forces recruitment strategy is working and that we're getting more and more people.
Well, hopefully we will see the Irish Defence Forces continue to grow in strength. But I mean, I will personally say, again, for my own opinions, I think everyone should at least be trying to join the Garda or the IDF. I mean, personally, I'm in the Garda. I think I think the
I
Irish
think
Defence Forces need it more, but I still
of
think the
course.
Garda has a place for it. Like,
But the thing is, Dan, the Defense Forces, the capabilities of them are much more advanced than Garda's. Like Garda's limited in what they can do in terms of national security and within the border and fighting back against national threats, whereas the IDF, not, they don't necessarily have free reign, but they have more abilities, and they're not as confined as in Garda Síochána is. So I think we should be honestly joining Ogluk. I mean, I think everyone on this VC should be joining Ogluk and Heron, whether that's in the reserve defense forces or the regular defense forces.
well, currently the Social Democrats, the Taoiseach is giving his final closing remarks to the debate. Well, I'm going to put you down now because I think this is a motion very relevant to you, considering you have seconded it. Um, I mean, it is getting close towards the end of the session, hopefully, but I think again, I'd like to reiterate those words. I think that we should, at least everyone should be trying to join some kind of public service, some kind of Irish Defence Forces. So, oh, it's just been informed to me that Francis Butler Yates will be the Fianna Fáil candidate for Taoiseach in July 2025 with the unanimous decision by the Fianna Fáil National Executive Body. This is quite a substantial take. I mean, again, the leader of the party not being the lead, they're not even the deputy leader of the opposition. They're not the leader of the party either, and they are being the candidate for Taoiseach. I'd say it's quite a controversial thing. I mean, it's similar. It's similar to what the Green Party has moved towards, having a panel of leadership rather than just one centralised leadership. The Labour Party, the Social Democrats, and Fine Gael, they all have that one leadership. Whereas Fianna Fáil and the Green Party, they seem to be adopting more of a panel voting structure rather than panel leadership. Um, the motion to censure, I believe, is being given now. Well, Trudeau has said that it's not like anything like the Greens. It's not controversial at all. There's still central authority in Fianna Fáil. I would say it's a little controversial. Your leader not being the leader of the Dáil not being the Taoiseach. I mean, the leader of the Dáil is tends to be the leader of the government, but this is the motion to censor the government. It's currently being debated on. Oh, the Social Democrats have shot up in attendance. They've gone to 7 seats here now. So really, the Green Party will be deciding to. Well, they will be the deciding vote. They will either. I'm not sure. If every Social Democrat does vote, this can be a. This would be a tie, and that would mean it would fail. However, again, I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, I thought he'd done speaking. There has now been a motion to vote. Oh, hold on. Oh, sorry, I'm really silent. I'm just trying to see what's happening here. Okay, they're now going to vote on the motion to censor. The vote all has been called. Now members of the Dáil will go ahead and vote. Oh, we're just waiting. Oh, walking into their chambers there. I think it's going to be a very close vote from looking here. It seems someone has failed to enter their chamber, accidentally putting in an abstination rather than a. And again, I've been told I shouldn't be going into the chambers, so I won't be. So again, there's not much to say. We just need to wait for the government for the Dáil. Oh God, the Dáil to come back. They have returned. Now the clerk will read out the results. Tar 6, nil 6, 1 abstain. There has been a motion to revote tables. The motion to revote has been seconded. the Lashkyan caller has to vote to break this tie, but it's always nil. Just waiting to see. Okay, wow, it's been voted tar. Quite a controversial decision by the Lashkyan caller. Usually they vote nil, they do not get involved with these things, but wow. Hold on. Okay, there is a revote. There was one vote. They're arguing the government there was 7-0. Yet only actually 6 voted. Nil apparently. They're all entering the chambers to vote again. Now just waiting again for this extra vote. Okay, one of the clerks have returned. It seems they have gotten their vote. Other clerk has returned. Members of the Oireachtas have been called back into the session. Oh yeah, I forgot to say the Lashkyan caller of Green Party did take over. Sorry again, I'm literally just waiting for this to happen. It's quite a Oh my god, is that the Neve Clark?
Naughty. Naughty.
Are you? Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh
Sorry,
god,
Good
they all
evening.
Oh,
Welcome to the 9 o'clock news.
It's
Our
Oh,
top
I'm
story.
why did all
fucking-
three of us join? Wait, why did all three of us
hold on, the
join
votes are
in?
the votes are being cast in the motion to censor the government.
Sorry, I have actually had to just mute because I am on the toilet.
Lovely.
Oh my
The vo-
Neve Clark, you don't do that.
The results
get a
are
producer?
7 tar,
I think it's passed. I think it's passed. I think they've done it.
7-0.
Oh, for Drats. I mean, it doesn't matter. It failed. So
And well, that's what I
Yes,
thought
it's
originally.
failed.
The Lashkyan caller
Oh.
voted tar,
Oh.
which was
oh wait, no, the Lashkyan corner has to vote.
yeah, that's what happened last time. And
They always vote with the affirmative, don't they?
I don't know. I thought they always voted nil.
What did he vote last
Well,
time?
we
What
don't
was his
have
decision
Speaker
last time?
Denison's rule.
He
We don't
voted.
have Speaker Denison's rules, so
Did he
theoretically
vote
we
No.
can vote anyway.
Did he vote tar? Sorry, Dan, you're supposed to be watching this. What did he vote last time? Can you please tell the people? I don't know what's happening. What's happening?
Well, no,
What did he
that's
vote
what I'm
last
trying
time?
to. You
People are
keep it.
jumping. People
Okay.
are jumping. What's happening?
Jeremy, stop it now!
Sorry.
Okay. So previously, the Lashkyan caller voted tar. However,
That wasn't very nice.
there was a kind of it's reached 9 p.m.
Smart move. What a great move.
Naughty.
A motion to adjourn has been tabled. The motion to censor has also passed, and the members of the opposition are cheering.
So wait,
Now-
he voted
I'm
tar last time.
parliamentary.
I
You
have
knew
to
this,
point
and you
out. I
didn't,
have to
okay.
point out. The
Okay.
Green Party voted tar in this. They did agree for the motion to censor the government. So, is this the first steps to the government crumbling? I mean, we've just saw the vote in supply vote
Question,
against the
Dan,
government.
question,
So yeah.
Why are they censoring the government again? What?
Apparently,
If only we knew.
What was the build up? What was the build up? You know.
it was the apparently inaction.
But didn't they call this to do action? I'm just a bit. I'm not questioning you. I'm just saying, like, do you have any answers? Were you watching anything?
I mean, what are you on about? I was told by the At least I know
So
the
whichever
Green
coach
Party. The
is
Green Party unhappy about the indecisiveness apparently of the Social Democrats. At least
But what
that's
about everyone else? Why was there a motion to censor? Why was? I'm so
the
confused.
motion to censor was tabled because Huey. I don't actually remember what he said because I usually blank out on what he says. I think they're voting to adjourn
That might have
right
been a bit
now.
important there, Dan. I'm not gonna lie.
But
That might have
he
been
he
a
v-
small
he
bit
said that
important.
he'd motion to censor the government, and he was talking about the Northern Irish border and everything beforehand. So I'd assume it was in relation to that, considering
Okay,
this is what
okay.
the debate is about.
See, maybe someone who's one of our lovely audience members who knows what's happening. I'm so grateful to be appointed Lord Mayor of Dublin.
What
Killian?
what is the Lord Mayor of Dublin? What?
Okay. This is just a cautionary tale to your stupid viewers who text me stupid things like, will I be nominated for honors? Will honors nominate me? Will honors me nominate be me listening? Like, shut up! I don't want
Who's that?
nominating you. Get your service or agency to nominate you. Get your
Killian, deep
friend to
breaths.
nominate, or
Get the
like
stress ball.
so stupid, or just
Stress
do it
ball.
the old-fashioned way and the elite. Do it the old-fashioned way and the illegal way, which is to trade nominations with other people. Don't DM the president and say, "Hey, am I going to get
Wait, you
nominated?"
can do that?
No, I don't nominate you. Read the Constitution. Open up on Rock na Heron. I don't nominate you people. You are plebeians. How many times do I have to remind you? You are in the lower echelons of Roman society, and I am Julius Caesar, who will one day be stabbed by my spouse.
Okay, lovely words and the president there. I think the vote on
Don't bolster what
the
he's saying. The president just spewed a load of shite, okay? That's the fact of it. Excuse my language. I apologize for my most unparliamentary language. However, that's what he just did. And I think we should hold the president accountable for this.
The Francis said, I brought forward the motion of censure because the government apparently kept important information on UK government connections to the UVF from the public and the opposition. We found that egregious, and we thought that the government's actions during the crisis to be wholly improper and not enough for the protection of Irish citizens. The Dáil has adjourned with 11 tar, 1-0 and 1 abstain.
You know, Dan, at first I didn't realize when you said that you usually zone out when you read things Francis says. And you know, just when you read that statement, I zoned out. But then I caught the last because I realized I was zoning out. So then I caught the last bit. So, but thank you
Well,
for
the
reading.
TLDR is nowhere kept information about the UVF receiving funding from the UK government. This has been
They were receiving funding. Sorry, I missed a bit of lore here.
Hello?
yeah.
Hello?
No. Hold on. I need to confirm. We've been talking about this the entire stream. So I've been told by multiple people that they are not actually receiving funding from the UK government, but I'm being told by the UVF themselves that they are receiving funding from the government. So it really makes you
You know what I'm
question
gonna do?
where is the UK government standing all of it. I don't even know who the Prime Minister is, but
You know what? I'll message the prime
yeah,
minister.
if
And
you
we'll get
could
to
if
the
you could
bottom
give
of
him a
this. Don't
message and
worry.
ask him if he's funding the
I
UVF,
think I know who
please.
he is. I think I know who it is.
Who is it? Who
I'm
is
not
it?
too sure now.
Is it a username I'd recognise?
Let me just give me 2 minutes and I'll figure it.
Of
Harold
course,
R.
you'd know
Rothschild.
him.
Oh, it's this.
The Rothschild. I
I've
think it's
actually no
Michael M.
idea who this is.
Rothschild.
I know who that. I
No,
know who Harold
Harold.
is.
Harold Rothschild. I didn't know there was a Harold.
The Oireachtas has finished convening. Everyone go on Glasgow. Amazing game. I miss it really much, so we should all go on it right now. Far better than County Armagh.
Have I DM'd him before? HRH Funky Monkey. Let's see that name sounds a bit more familiar now.
Well, anyway,
Is that the
anyway,
Prime Minister?
thank you for watching
Yeah.
tonight's. Thank you for watching tonight's stream, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening and good night.
Thanks, Dan.
Again, join the server startup if you